know it, honey.
That couple loses everything, one of many in the state of Texas. Tragedy and heartbreak all around the state. We are going on 300 days of continuous wildfires and record-breaking drought. Home after home wiped out. Thousands of residents left with nothing. A chunk of land the size of Connecticut, that big, has burned. That is over 5,000 square miles. 1,400 homes, maybe even more now, has been destroyed around Austin and the Bastrop County area alone. At least 4 people have died. Thousands have been forced out of their homes and don't know what they'll find when they get back to the home.
We lost everything.
I know it, honey.
Which means the gas is not there either. I'm sorry.
Come on. Rebuild?
Probably not. Probably not. No, because it'd be very difficult, even if you clean it all away and everything, to sit there and look at black charred monuments to the past.
At least that couple saying no, they will not rebuild after looking at what is left, which is really nothing. Bricks. Police are still looking for 4 teenage arson suspects in another fire near Bastrop County. The suspects, 2 boys, 2 girls, maybe 15 or 16 years old. They're wanted in questioning for the fire in Leander that burned down about a dozen homes. Something different in the Northeast. We're talking floods. They continue to plague that area after 2 major storms hammered the region in the last 2 weeks. Mary Snow is in Plymouth Township, Pennsylvania, with the very latest on how it looks there. Mary.
Well, Susan, if you take a look behind me, you can see what residents here are up against. We're in Plymouth Township, as you mentioned, just southwest of Wilkes-Barre, and the worst has yet to come because county officials are saying now that the Susquehanna River is expected to crest later tonight between midnight and 2 a.m. And take a look at some of the damage here. This is one home that is now under several feet of water. There's one fence over here that's a 6-foot fence, and it is almost completely out of sight at this point because of the waters that are continuing to rise. Francis Federici is the homeowner of this home. Mr. Federici, at what point did you have to get out of your house?
Approximately 8 o'clock this morning.
What happened?
I was sitting having coffee, and my neighbor come down and said, "You got to get out. The water's coming down around the park." So I went out and looked, and sure enough, it was. So I got the wife up and said, "We got to go."
How quickly were you able to get out of that house?
Well, we gathered a few things that we could gather and started loading it up, and within a half hour.
You've been here for 9 years. Is this the worst you've seen?
Yes, it is.
And you have seen flooding?
Yes, I have.
Before this, what's the worst been?
A
couple of inches in your home?
A couple inches. That was the first flood.
And now you're saying it's coming through the kitchen window, right?
Right.
And again, the worst is yet to come because the waters continue to rise.
Yes, it is.
Do you think you can salvage anything?
Well, we just got to wait and see till the water goes down and see what we have left.
And you're going to be staying with relatives now?
Right now, for now, until the water goes down.
All right. We're very sorry, and thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Susan, also, the county was saying that it has about 4,100, the capacity for 4,100 people to stay in shelters, and those shelters are filling up. They're looking to open more shelters. There was a mandatory evacuation in place for 4 p.m. Eastern. But this town where we are, there was an evacuation order. People were told to get out last night.
So I would imagine, Mary, for a lot of people, it really just is a wait-and-see game. As with Francis, he said, we'll wait and see when they can go back and look in their homes and see the damage.
Yeah, and it's unclear, because the river is supposed to crest in several hours from now, when exactly people will be able to come back at this point.
Yeah, luckily there are shelters. I would imagine that a lot of people are staying with relatives, with friends, as that comes through, as we see behind you. Mary Snow, live in Pennsylvania. Thanks.
Well, the process has begun. Really, it's stage 1 jury selection for the Conrad Murray case, Michael Jackson's doctor here. As 160 potential jurors showed up at the Los Angeles County Courthouse today, some could decide if Michael Jackson's doctor is guilty of involuntary manslaughter. This process beginning with the questionnaire First part of the questionnaire for these people is hardship. Can they actually serve on a jury? Then after that, the more exhaustive questionnaire, talking about their knowledge of Michael Jackson, Conrad Murray, what they know about the case. And they'll be asked, you know, whether or not they agree with statements like this. Here's a sampling of what these folks are looking at now. Here's the statement. Celebrities and high-profile people in Los Angeles get away with crimes because of their status. So, prospective juror will be asked, do you agree or disagree with a statement like that? Or this, do you think that people of wealth and fame are treated differently in the court system? So that's what they're looking at here. Interesting, as Arjun Kassar has told us, everybody, all 160 people knew of Michael Jackson, knew of this case. That's what they're dealing with as they try and select a final 18. Speaking of Jean, she talked with Conrad Murray's lead defense attorney, Ed Chernoff, and he says watching the Casey Anthony trial made him question whether or not his client could get a fair shake.
I see this video of people fighting to get tickets to go in and see this Casey Anthony trial. And I had to get off the machine. I had chills down my back, thinking to myself, holy cow. I mean, that is a murder case in Florida with individuals that are not famous. I understand, you know, how interesting that case may be to some folks, but this case has the potential for so much more.
That was the argument he made to the judge to sequester the jury. We know that's not going to happen. Again, 450 people will answer these questionnaires, and then the lawyers are going to pore over their answers, and then direct questioning of potential jurors begins September 23rd. Rochelle, we're going to be all over that.
So much writing on getting the right jury. And the right jury depends on which side you're on, Mike. All right, let's go back remembering 9/11. When 9/11 happened, a lot of people put out their American flags. Take a look at these ladies here, right there. You can see them across the street. They put their flags out, too. Kept doing it every Tuesday morning for the past 10 years. And they say they wanted to support the country, but they say it was also about just encouraging people to stick together.
I decided to come up here, and I brought my flag with me, and it was just such a heavy time for everybody. I didn't know if it was proper to raise the flag up or not. But finally I did, and when I did, people beeped their horns and yelled, God bless America, and we get through this. And that dark, heavy feeling that was around every one of us just lifted, and I said, this is what I need to be doing.
So be sure to join us this Sunday as HLN remembers the September 11th attacks that really changed America. Our live coverage of the remembrance ceremony started 8:30 a.m. Eastern on HLN. Mike.
All right, sad news to report, Rochelle. As we know, Peyton Manning, he's one of the biggest names in all of sports. He's hosted Saturday Night Live. He does Sony TV commercials. Really a likable guy. Well, we're finding out he has had a second surgery on his neck, meaning he could be out another 2 to 3 months, and that's most of the season. Here's a guy who played in 200.